I am Johnny Massacre and welcome to my world. Tonight's news, Tim Walz announced he's dropping his bid for a third term as Minnesota governor. Who is with me? Give me a hell yeah! Well, why is Tim Walz not going to run a third time to be governor, even though he said he was just a few short moments ago? Well, one of the biggest frauds in American history has occurred under Tim Walz's watch. Remember the multi-billion-dollar Somalian daycare center benefit fraud recently exposed by Citizen's journalist Nick Shirley is all taking place under Tim Walz, and the pressure is just getting too much. You thought this little slippery weasel was going to get away, because even after all of this, Tim Walz, completely tone deaf, announced that he was going to fund more Minnesotan recent imports from Somalia who want to take time off work, basically because they're now losing their jobs because the fraud has been exposed. Well, finally, a little bit of karma, a little bit of justice. This evil Astard Bay is not running again for a third term as governor. And I'm not surprised, because this fraud looks like it's around $20 billion plus. It could even be up to $50 billion. The amount of fraud that Tim Walz has overseen due to importing Somalians to vote for the Democrats is more than the entire GDP of Somalia itself. Of course, Walz blamed Republicans, not the treasonous criminal operation he carried out by fraudulently paying criminal Somalians to vote for him and Kamala Harris in the local and federal elections. And that's not to even mention the kickbacks their respective campaigns received with this laundered money. Donald Trump pretty much summarized this best, my friends. Let's see what the Trumpster had to say, shall we? Gonna bring up my screen for you here and make sure that we've got the right desktop for you. Okay, so let's hear what Trump had to say about Somalia ripping off Americans.
It's almost not even believable. This very stupid, low IQ governor, he's a very stupid man, because, I had a campaign against him with JD, and he's a stupid man, and he's a corrupt politician. And the Somalians are ripping off our country to the tune of, looks like $19 billion, but that's only what they can find. So usually when you're looking at 19, that would mean it could be 50. But the numbers are astronomical. Think of it. They have a dead country. They don't have government. They don't have anything. They don't have a military. All they do is run around shooting people and trying to capture ships. We don't let them take ships anymore. You know why? We use the same exact missile on them that we use on the drug carriers. And it's very effective. You notice there's nobody capturing ships anymore?
So everyone knows it now. This news cycle is too big for Tim Walz to hide from it and to weasel his way out of it. You heard there from Donald Trump, the fraud is 20 billion plus, maybe even 50 billion. And Tim Walz just has to resign. He's basically not going to run again, which is quite a black pill. You think he'd do it immediately. And with all this fraud that he's overseen, how can he possibly stay in his job? It's almost as if Republicans and Democrats have done a lot of bad things and they have dirt on one another, and they just let each other get on with what they're doing, quasi exposing them in the media, but not going the full way of ever arresting. The only time you've ever really seen that is the Democrats' attempt to do that to Donald Trump. So I want to see arrests, and I've been wanting to see this for a long time, but I will not hold my breath. Anyways, the Somalian population is exploding under Tim Walz. That's the Democrat plan for the whole of America, is to pay people for votes. The Somalians that are now taking over Minnesota, and who 99.9% plus are involved in the daycare fraud, 81% of them, Somalian households, are on benefits in Minnesota, and also 81% of Somalians are on benefits in America at large. What benefit do they have other than to vote for Democrats? There's just so much fraud now occurring daily in Minnesota, or New Somalia, I should call it, is actually very difficult to even cover. For example, we had Liz Collin on X today say Minneapolis Craigslist post in search of child actors for daycare site where funding was cruelly ripped away without cause. So just flagrantly continuing the fraud with impunity, knowing that the people who run the state are not going to hold them to account. People like Tim Walz, who is not going to run for a third term. Other news, it's just so much of it. I took a few choice cuts here just to show you how bad the fraud is in New Somalia, Minnesota. We've got Walter Kurt, who let it be known on X that this is the listed location of the auditing firm that performed the audits for both the Minnesota and Ohio on the NGOs we have linked to potential fraud. So this is like O.J. Simpson being the jury and judge in his own trial. That's how lawless Democrat cities have become in their pursuit to import a new permanent voter base. So now, karma, my friends. The guy who did this changed Minnesota's flag to a Somalian flag, is now changing his job, cuzzy. So get the hell out of there, Tim Walz, you corrupt POS. Absolutely delicious. Don't mean to serve up the black pill so quickly, but the poly-market chances of Tim Walz's arrest by March the 31st of this year have dropped from 48% on December the 31st when all of this started to break to 15% today. But I do like those odds, and I do hope this guy ends up in jail because that's where he belongs. Extra tasty bonus Tim Walz news. Well, do you remember when Tim Walz said this about Elon Musk and Tesla?
Saying on my phone, I know some of you know this on the iPhone, they've got that little stock app. I added Tesla to give me a little boost during the day. 225 and dropping. So, and if you own one, we're not blaming you. You can take dental floss and pull the Tesla thing off, and take out, just telling you.
So this guy was celebrating Elon Musk's Tesla stock dropping when Soros-funded activists started to burn down Tesla dealerships in acts of arson. And now, fast forward merely 2 months, 2 or 3 months, 2 months at most, and Elon Musk's Tesla stock has more than doubled since he said that, and Tim Walz's empire is crumbling, not Elon Musk. This is poetic justice. Elon Musk, the most productive man in the world, versus one of the most parasitic men in the world. This is the universe aligning itself into the natural order, and I absolutely love it. So when he was mocking Elon Musk's Tesla stock price, it was valued at 225 and dropping. You can see that here. It was around this point. And now it is worth 450. It has literally doubled. So just delicious and tasty news. One of the corrupt Democrats is going to step down. I do think he'll be back in some capacity because communists always look after their own. But it is good news today if you are a liberty-loving patriot. I'm Johnny Massacre, and if you're just joining us, we're discussing how Tim Walz, governor of Minnesota, has reversed on his decision to run for a third term. But if you have been watching from the beginning, then stop your grinning and drop your linen, donate some cash, and let's keep winning. Streamlabs.com/Johnny Massacre, patreon.com/Johnny Massacre, and paypal.me/ give me a hell yeah. Your donations make this YouTube show possible, so please consider donating now via one of those links to the right of my beautiful hair, and I will much appreciate it, and you will get more of this and you will get more of me, cuzzy wuzzy wuzzy. So speaking of Elon Musk, Donald Trump and Elon Musk are back together again. Elon Musk confirmed that he had dinner with President Trump and First Lady Melania in Florida, but last night, cuzzy, check it out. Here's the picture. The boys are back in town. The band is back together. Elon Musk posted on X, had a lovely dinner last night with Trump and the First Lady. 2026 is going to be amazing. So the brief rift within the Republican Party has subsided. Elon Musk is all in on the fast approaching midterms for this year in 2026. He's all in on funding the Republican Party in the midterms. This is going to be part 2 of the election that we enjoy together at the end of 2024. Scott Pressler also said he's all in with Elon Musk. Do it for Charlie. Do it for Charlie. That's the one glaring omission this time around, is Charlie Kirk is not with us, and I was watching his channel for Trump's election and it was the best channel there. So we've lost the juggernaut, but hopefully that has pissed off the Republicans enough to motivate them to do the business again in 2026 in the midterms. So make sure you get out and vote for that this year, everybody. Elon Musk being all in on the midterms and smoothing things out with the Trumps to Donald Trump means that now we will be able to better combat the George Soros machine. There will also be more resources to get out the vote and counteract Democrat ballot harvesting and fraud. And there will also be more resources for voter registration in key swing states. Tim Walz, he'll just always be remembered as that guy who looks like he's having a permanent panic attack. And do you remember he called himself a knucklehead on the stage? Kamala Harris didn't want Shapiro as the running mate because he probably appeared too competent. So they picked the weakest of straight white males that they could to try to make Kamala Harris look better. It's like inviting ugly people out with you when you go to a club to make yourself look more attractive. As a team, though, that shit is just going to fail, and fail it did massively. So in other news, the Venezuela situation is still developing, and I'm gonna give you a bit of a monologue here off the cuff of what I think is going on. So I predicted something yesterday and I said that Trump taking control of Venezuela is in no small part down to the fact that he wants to stem the flow of illegal migration into the United States of America. Counteracting illegal migration is Donald Trump's main campaign promise, and is the main reason why he got elected. Is something he obviously believes in. And so therefore, he must try to stem the flow of illegals. To do that, you need to close the bottleneck between South America and North America, which is known as the Darien Gap. He's already done a good job in stemming the tide of migrants going through there, but that is the actual geographical land mass, or lack thereof, if you will, that allows migrants into the United States of America. Venezuela is right next to Colombia, which fans out onto the Darien Gap. He can't go straight into Colombia, so he went for the main destabilizing presence in the region, which was Venezuela. And now that America's in control of it, Colombia could be next. And Trump said on the day of the press conference where he explained what happened with Delta Force taking Maduro, the tyrant of Venezuela, that Colombia could be next. And I wouldn't be surprised if they actually went in and did this, because it's two birds with one stone. It also stops a lot of drugs reaching the United States of America, something Trump also feels very strongly about, to the degree which he said that people should have the death penalty for taking drugs. And now Trump is also talking about Cuba falling. Cuba is the other place where illegal migrants can get into the United States of America via Haiti. So if Trump, after Venezuela, does the logical thing, which is to take control of Colombia, and also with more momentum, with more influence by the United States of America, on top of Venezuela falling, to take control of Cuba, or to push Cuba into a state where there's going to be a revolution, it might mean that Trump can take control of all the areas that are now the main pathways for illegals. That's my theory. That's what I think is actually going to happen. So here's some news today that made me further believe that. Check it out. So this is news today on Fox. Trump warns sick Colombian president while floating Greenland acquisition. Colombia is very sick too, run by a sick man who likes making cocaine and selling it to the United States, and he's not going to be doing it very long, let me tell you, Trump said. So this is what's next after Venezuela. When pressed by a reporter to clarify his remarks, Trump claimed that Petro has cocaine mills and cocaine factories. So there will be an operation by the US in Colombia, the reporter asked. It sounds good to me, Trump responded. His attention then turned to Greenland, where he once again expressed an interest in acquiring the Danish territory. We need Greenland from a national security situation, yada, yada, yada. And now we go from Venezuela, via Colombia to Cuba. President Donald Trump late Sunday predicted Cuba was ready to fall after US forces captured Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro, warning that Havana can no longer rely on Caracas for security and oil. See the domino chain here? It's obviously deliberate. Trump said Cuba's fate is now directly tied to Maduro's ouster and the collapse of Venezuela's ability to bankroll allies in the region. Asked if he was considering US action in Cuba, Trump replied, "I think it's just going to fall. I don't think we need any action. Looks like it's going down. It's going down for the count." So Sun Tzu, the master of warfare, said that you should never directly engage the enemy if they're making a mistake or if they're going to fuck it up themselves. So I think this is all part of the plan. Now look at this. The X down here, this is the Darien Gap. This is where all the illegal migrants come from all over the world. South America is a lawless place generally. So they'll come here. They'll come in from Africa and various places, Middle East. Then they'll go through here with help from the NGOs. Thank you, Soros. They'll go all the way through, and then they'll go up through Mexico into the United States of America. On the right here is Venezuela, which Trump says literally that America is now in control of. So you'd have to think logically that's the base of operations from where Colombia is then going to be taken over by the United States. And then once this is in control of the states, I mean, man, you'll be able to stop an insane amount, pretty much all of the illegals going through there. The only other way to do it would be to go from Ecuador, but that's like a pretty ridiculous route by boat. You're just basically not going to make it. The only other ways is via Cuba, and then they can try to sneak over here, and that's how people get in through Haiti and stuff. But if Cuba does come under control of the United States, then all of this area is going to be on lockdown, and Trump's talking about how we need to stop this great replacement and stop the ridiculous amounts of asylum seekers coming in, stop taking the jobs, and stop, increasing the demand for housing and stop spiking inflation and all that kind of stuff. And this is going to be key to his plans, in my personal opinion. What do you think about that? Do you agree with me? I'd like to hear your opinion, but that's my thoughts on that. And yes, Trump is talking about how it would be a good thing if Colombia met the same fate as Venezuela yesterday, and Cuba as well. So lots of interesting things there to speculate about. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining me today. I do appreciate your company. We talked about how Tim Walz is not running for a third term, and Elon Musk is crushing it. Elon Musk and Donald Trump's relationship has been rekindled, and Elon Musk is all in the midterms and post the Venezuelan takeover at the hands of America and Maduro being captured along with his wife. It stands to reason that Colombia and Cuba are next on the chopping block. Kazi wazi wazi. What do you think about that? I'd love to hear your opinion. I would love to hear it. Speaking of Cuba, so we were playing the hardest NES game ever made yesterday, and my lord, My lord, is that game difficult. It's called Holy Diver. So at the end of this stream, you're going to be redirected to that. And I'll be going live there in about an hour. And we're going to resume our adventure, attempting to finish this game. And we're on level 4. There's 6 levels. Apparently level 4 is ridiculously hard, the hardest yet. And yesterday I was just screaming and shouting with disbelief at how hard level 3 was. Every time I went to the next screen, I thought it was the boss, and it wasn't. It just kept on going. It's very random, very janky. And someone in the comments, Andy something 2007, said he's never been able to finish it, and he can't get past the second last room on the last level, level 6. So yeah, I'm gonna do my best. I'm looking forward to that. And I think this, because it's the hardest NES game after this, I'm not gonna play retro games for a little while, and these old games, because they're not really fun. Let's be honest. It's kind of fun in a reaction kind of way, and in a Schadenfreude kind of way for you. But for me, I love overcoming it, but it's a pretty stressful experience. So once I beat the hardest NES game, I don't have to beat all the other hard NES games, because this is the one, right? At least not for a long while. And then we can get back to playing something more engaging. Over the Christmas period, we played some very terrible, janky games, but played a few, at least one banger, which was Snatcher by Hideo Kojima on the Sega CD. Man, I'm still thinking about that game. The graphics, the sound, the music, the songs are still in my head. Pretty much most of them, and the dialogue. Oh man, I love that game. So I think we need to get back to something like that. Might need to do a Blade Runner point and click, you know what I mean?
BrWR says, Japan and Germany realized they stood no chance when they discovered America had entire ships in their fleet solely for making cake and ice cream for sailors.
How you doing, Brad?
BrWR says, Japan.
I've got to open the window. Smoking a cigar in a non-ventilated room is it's just not a thing to do. I still can't get over the dude who sold me this cigar. I don't know where they're from, like Pakistan or somewhere, but they had a shop in central London. And I asked him about it. He said, I don't know about Cuban cigars. What? Like nobody has this at all in Japan, this particular one, because it's just, there's a scarcity of Cubans because of shipping logistics and embargoes and stuff like that. The guy who has it doesn't know anything about cigars. And of course, there's a little bit of mold on the label. Little green bit there where the glue was. Unbelievable. Yeah, look at this, dude. That's actually kind of gross. Look, under the label, all of the glue has gone green. See that? Which is mold, where there is some kind of moisture with the glue. Crazy. Take that off. Unbelievable.
BrWR says, keeping it old school.
I don't really rate this cigar, man. It's more expensive than my favorite one of the same brand, but I don't know. Like Cuban cigars though, quality is all over the place, as I always say. But yeah, the Romeo and Julieta Churchill. I honestly don't even think it's the same. Is it the same leaves? as they use in the White Churchill. It smelled amazing. The construction is shit though. It's just like, this is where it feels good. It's all soft, but then at the end it feels all bunched up in here. Like, it feels really hard, and it's kind of compromising the smoke. Yeah, where the label is. It is what it is. $2026, huh? I think it's gonna be a great year. Midterm's gonna be absolutely fucking insane. They're gonna have to go so hard to try to turn things back in their favor. Yeah, it's gonna be. But historically, the other side usually makes gains. But I remember last time, Republicans didn't really make the gains we thought they were going to make, and everyone was talking about the red wave, and there's so much shady shit. There were so many delayed counts, and again, there's no focus on that. You know, Trump talks about election aud fray all the time and how he's going to expose it. Mate, it's time to make a move with mail-in ballots and voter ID. I want to see it. It has to happen before the midterms. I don't give a fuck, dude. Just make it happen. Why are people not talking about this? I get tired of it, man. I felt the cigar winked at me there. Got a little flash of burn. That was quite cool. Oh Lord. Right, so holy diver it is then, I guess. I need some more ventilation. Fucking hell. Mate, this is like I need cold air. I guess any air will do. Oh, this is cold air. Okay, oh shit. This is... You broken now? You what, cuzzy? I think it has some kind of thing inside to stop you burning the house down. What did I do? Did I break it? Oh Lord of mercy. I broke it. Did I? No. Okay. That's what we need. This is what we need, cuzzy. Oof. There hasn't been a mass shooting in a while, has there? I always feel like they seem to happen near elections. Call me conspiratorial. There was definitely one about a month before the 2024 one. I can't remember what it was though. That's what got Alex Jones in trouble, right? Got him in major trouble. What was it? $1 billion? Crazy for free speech. Right, I'm going to go and you're going to get redirected to the Holy Diver stream. I'll be back in about an hour. We're going to play some video games. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. See you in a minute, yeah? Cheers.